Welcome to the Rider's Edge podcast, a platform to share conversations about the health and wellness of horse and rider. I'm your host, Farley Schweigert. Hey y'all, it's Farley with Rider's Edge, and I want to thank you for joining me today. If you listen to the podcast right when it comes up during the week, you know that I'm a day late, but not $1 short. Today we're going to talk about what I like to call Superman syndrome. Now, I'm a little bit late this week because I'll be real honest. A lot of you guys know that I pose as an amateur meteorologist. And June here in Arkansas has just been one of the best Junes I can ever remember. And I just was late recording this week's podcast. I've been riding 4 to 5 head of horses a day and working my day job. And I just would put it off and put it off and put it off. So, pardon me this one week as we get back on track. This is something that I have wanted to talk about for a while. And like I said, just kind of, I'd come in and I'd get a few other things done and I'd be like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, I'll do that tomorrow. And then here we are. So let's talk about what I call Superman syndrome. Now, Superman syndrome, I did not check the Googler before I started recording. So I don't know if, I doubt that Dr. Google is going to bring this up if you search it. This is really Farley's term for this. But what I'm talking about here with Superman syndrome is that I am invincible. It can't happen to me. I don't need to get that checked because I'm me. I'm awesome. So I'm talking about this really this week in reference to our health. And you can call it Wonder Woman. I'm going to stick with Superman syndrome just because I'm a big fan of alliterations as well. So it kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. And I'll be real honest that this is a little bit of preaching to the choir. I have a lot of Superman syndrome myself. And I think it's very easy for us to have that. The memes go around on Facebook all the time that our horse has a farrier, chiropractor, 2 vets, a psychic, a masseuse, and we're living on protein bars and ibuprofen and beer. There's a lot of truth to that. Particularly, it's always aimed at the barrel racers, but it can really go across the whole genre of horses. And we've got to look out for ourselves as well. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make anybody into a pansy, nor am I trying to freak anybody out that they need to, every time they get a sniffle, run to the doctor or whatever. I'm not turning anybody, and I'm not trying to flip anybody on the other side of the spectrum. But what I am saying is maybe we need to pause when we have something going on with our body, evaluate what's going on, use common sense, and see if we need to have a conversation about it. I know I use the word common sense. We could use common sense in a lot of aspects of our lives right now. But let's talk about common sense in your health and medicine. If you have symptoms that have been going on and you've kept track of them, and that's the thing, let's start there. Let's start with body awareness. In my experience as being a physical therapist, majority of people lack body awareness. And in my opinion, that even becomes more true in people like us who are tough and just get the work done and have that Superman complex that I'm invincible, I'm 10 foot tall and bulletproof. So when our body is telling us something, because I've said this time and again, our bodies are incredible at putting up with the abuse that we give them, and with just putting up with getting us through life. They're just amazing when you see what they do and what they put up with. And if you're not into that, if you're not into medicine, that's cool. There's people like me. There are great doctors and therapists and all sorts of healthcare providers out there, um, ready, willing, and able to help you. But you got to have a conversation. You got to notice that your body's trying to tell you something, and then you have to keep track of it a little bit. If that means writing something down in your phone, if you start a note in your phone and on, if something keeps happening, you're like, gosh, that little pain keeps cropping up. Well, if it happens, even if it is very spread out, but it continues to happen, write it down in your phone. Just put a note. On 3/22, this happened then. On um, 4/10, this happened then. Just write, just put all that stuff down. And then when you go back and look at it, you go, this continues to happen. Let's have a conversation about it. Everything, in the words of one of my great mentors, Roy Lee Aldridge Jr., everything is worth a conversation, particularly when it comes to your health. Take it to somebody, and then let's use common sense. Don't freak out about it, but go have a conversation. If you've been having a set number of symptoms and you have a past family history of conditions that match those symptoms, you dang sure need to have a conversation. If you've been having a set number of symptoms that you're kind of like, okay, it could be this, it could be that, it could be nothing, and I don't have a past family history of it, still go have a conversation. Because it's better to be safe than sorry. It's a very concerning time in healthcare right now. With COVID-19, often we are not going to the doctor, therapists like we were before COVID-19. Sometimes that is completely okay. A lot of times it's not, because even within the COVID-19 time frame, there are still major health problems going on. There are still people who, unfortunately, are having strokes, who are having traumatic injuries, who are having spinal cord injuries, who are being diagnosed with cancer, very detrimental health conditions that I don't want you to, it concerns me that we will have a lot of detrimental health outcomes due to skipping having conversations with a physician because of COVID-19. Now you gotta, and again, that's why I say let's bring common sense into the situation. Let's listen to our bodies. Oh my gosh, let's listen to our bodies. Because here's the thing, you know your body better than anybody else. You are the one who lives in your body. You know your body better than anybody else. So you gotta listen to what it's telling you. And you've got to learn how it's speaking to you. Our bodies speak to us in the language just like our horses do. If you have really worked on your horsemanship and honed in on your horsemanship, you have worked on communicating with your horse and learning their language and what they like and what they don't like. It's the same thing with our bodies. Our bodies are all the time talking to us about different things. We just tend to ignore them until the signs start getting louder. They get louder and louder and louder. Some of us are very good at ignoring that until sometimes our bodies have to drop us in our tracks. They have to put the war bridle on and say, whoa now, I need you to look up and listen to me and fix this, help me heal, and then we can get back after it. So, Superman syndrome. Let's use some common sense. Let's use what our body's telling us. Let's use what we know. If you have past medical history of something, then you definitely need to talk about it. Also, in this day and age, it is becoming, because of COVID-19, it is becoming easier to access a physician or a therapist through telehealth. So, if it's something that you want to have a conversation with somebody about, you could very well start that conversation through your computer, through your cell phone. And then through having that conversation with that healthcare provider, you guys can ascertain whether you need to come into the office or they need to go ahead and send you for tests, or if we just need to watch it and continue to, maybe record things or change up your diet some way or somehow. So we've had this technology for a long time, and it's going to be one of the good things that comes out of COVID for the healthcare system is much more availability for telehealth. That will help everybody. That will help busy professionals. That will help people who are on the road. If the Wi-Fi internet infrastructure ever improves for rural America, it will help rural America have better and more access to healthcare than they currently do. In thinking about your health globally in the Superman syndrome, it's okay. I'm a big fan of being tough. I was in a car wreck in college, and I wasn't hurt, and the other driver was not hurt badly, but both of our vehicles, it dropped the drivetrain out of my truck, and spun it around. And I remember in that adrenaline rush, the ambulance is called and everybody goes through the deal. And they get to me and they go, "Ma'am, we need to take you to check out." And I yelled at the paramedic and I said, "I'm not broke, I'm not bleeding, I'm not going." And they go, "Ma'am, we need to take you to check out." I said, "I'm not broken, I'm not bleeding, I'm not going." And they go, "Okay, we need you to sign this form then." It was a AMA form, against medical advice. They took me to a doctor later because I was hyperventilating, but and just to double check everything, and it was fine. But that Superman syndrome. Well, come on, kid, get back on your horse. We need to do that. But maybe we need to take in the whole picture and make sure that's what needs to happen. In addition to taking in the whole picture if something's going on that's kind of perking your ears that you need to pay attention to, let's take in the whole picture of your health. How's your health right now? Are you doing things to get more healthy? Because we have found with COVID-19 different comorbidities, different things, obesity, diabetes, asthma, different things that often in this day and age people just live with, and it's not quote unquote a big deal, can make you more susceptible to this virus or even other ailments. Even when we get back into the winter months, common colds and other things that run through our society on a normal basis. So, are you in this time that we're in? Are you eating healthier? Are you working out? Are you going for walks? Are you getting some sunshine? Are you journaling? and working on your mental health? Are you doing little things to help make your whole system globally better? Hopefully you are. But hopefully this talking about Superman syndrome today will help you kind of get an outlook on that. Because doing those little things will help you in the long run. And I'm not talking about getting wild and crazy and going into CrossFit or, buying all the yoga pants and going to hot yoga if you've never been. Start with where you're at with what you have. You would be amazed at what 10 minutes, if you've not been doing any kind of movement for your body, would do for it. If you're a roper and you haven't been taking care of your shoulder, putting some TheraBand around, maybe before you have to open your tack room and you have to do some shoulder exercises, or wherever, somewhere where you've got to get through the 3 most important exercises to go into the next thing. You'd be amazed at how much less cranky your shoulder might be. If you are a desk jockey for your day job, you'd be amazed at what walking for 10 or 15 minutes most days would start doing and start jump-starting in your body. And for that matter, take your horse with you. Go hand walk your horse. As nice as June has been around here, the 12 inches of rain showed up 3 days ago, and the arena's still super muddy. But just spending time with your horse. So go hand walk if you are where it has rained on top of your head for days on end. You're going to get some bonding there, and you're going to get some great physical benefits from that. So just using common sense. You don't have to be crazy. We live in an all or nothing society right now, and then where's the middle? Where's the common sense? How do we bring that back to ourselves and our health decisions for both us and our horse? So if you're like me and you have Superman syndrome, keep being tough, keep being gritty, but start having a conversation with your body. Start listening. It probably needs you to listen more than it needs you to talk, which for someone who does like to talk a lot, it's highly unfortunate sometimes. But your body needs you to listen, and then it needs you to take action. It needs you to listen and then take action for whatever attention that it needs. It may be that it needs rest. It may not be that it needs more exercise or more this or more that. You may need better sleep. Don't underestimate the power of sleep in the healing and recovery process. And the reducing stress. It's huge. It's more than we were even taught as kids when, your parents made you go to bed. And then you grew up and you went to college and you never went to bed. And then you got older and that's all you wanted to do, but then you couldn't sleep very well. Again, there's a middle ground in all of that. Let's go find the middle ground. Let's go find the middle ground in a lot of places. Let's keep being Wonder Woman and Superman and being tough and gritty and pushing towards our goals. But let's use some common sense along the way. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate the conversation, and I will see you down the road. Thank you for listening to Rider's Edge Podcast. For show notes and other thoughts, head over to ridersedgetherapy.com. If you would like to stay connected and continue the conversation, head over to my free Facebook group, Rider's Edge Health and Wellness for Horse and Rider. Thanks for continuing the conversation, and as always, I will see you down the road.